Hello, and welcome back to another Moment to Heal session. So, I'm Javon, and I share everything that I know about emotional wellness and healing. And today, I want to share with you what I know about how to stop running from your feelings and start healing. But first, please allow me to introduce myself. I'm Javon Gray, and I help folks go from letting their entire mood and attitude be dictated by what happened to them in the past to becoming the force that dictates what is going to happen next. Now, what I typically say around my camp is that we don't cope, we heal. And speaking of what goes on in my camp, coming up this Saturday, January 11th, we are going to be kicking off the Soft 6 Self Care Challenge. And this is going to be a small group of folks who are all working toward the same goal. We're all working to clear our minds. We're all working to reduce overwhelm. We're all working on being able to finally and actually enjoy the fruits of our labor, right? All the stuff that we work so hard for. Many of us, all of us in this group, work very hard in our lives. We're always planning, we're always going, we're always achieving, we're always doing, and leaving very little room for ourselves to actually take in all the benefits of all of the accomplishments that we have. And so this Soft Six experience is all about that deep self-care. Now, back to this, how we avoid our way right into overwhelm situations. So in today's live talk, we're going to talk about why avoiding your emotions keep you stuck, the hidden toll it takes on your energy, relationships, and your peace of mind, and then 3 simple ways that you can face your feelings and start to feel lighter, calmer, and more in control. So I do want to start off with us facing a hard truth, or at least bring it up, because I feel like, again, when we got to talk about avoiding feelings, we have to acknowledge the why. And I can tell you that for me and in my experience, many of the women that I work with, most of us think that we're keeping the peace when we avoid our feelings. We feel like, I don't have time to be angry right now. If I handle this, if I fully feel this, then it's going to ruin my whole day. I have so many things to do. I got all these kids running around here. I got to work. If I face this right now, it's going to take me out, and I can't do that. I don't want to cry in front of my kids, etc. I don't want to cause an argument, right? That is one of the main things that I hear as well. But here's the truth. Avoidance doesn't lead to peace, right? If you are not actually working on your emotions, if you're not actually feeling them and you're avoiding them, it just causes chaos in your life, right? And then, of course, when somebody asks you how you're doing, then you say, like, on top of that, like, I'm fine. And most of the time, that is because this is something that it's okay until it's not. You kind of have those things, you experience them so frequently over time that it seems normal. And then it's cool. You are fine until somebody does something that happens to be, that happens to get down in deep, that happens to cut deep. So, the other hidden cost is that these uncomfortable feelings that we keep dodging, they won't go away, right? So if you don't deal with them, they aren't going to go away. You're going to store that pain. And then it's going to come up with more pain. They're going to build, they're going to bubble, and eventually you're going to release it all over, I don't know, a poor child's face or a poor stranger's face, or over their car or whatever the case may be. So why do we run from our feelings? Well, avoidance feels easier in the moment. We oftentimes will shy away from having the bigger or deeper conversations because we have a habit of doing it. So like if you tend to avoid conversations, any conversation where you are talking about money, how much money you make, how much money you spend, whatever, because of one thing that happened to you, every single time that someone brings it up and you get uncomfortable and you don't address it, or you act like this is not a problem for you and you kind of push it back down, there are pieces, everything that you didn't feel, everything that you weren't able to express or handle will layer on top of one another, so that the pressure behind that event, the mental image that you make, is going to become more powerful. It's going to harness more energy. Another thing about how it feels easier in the moment is that it's kind of like we get to the point where we're like, why would I deal with the discomfort when I can distract myself? I can distract myself with Netflix. I can distract myself with more work, right? I can start more businesses. I can take more courses. I can get my kids into more activities, or I can get into more activities. I can work more. I can scroll on my phone. I can eat more. And that, it feels like that number one will help to add on. So, okay, you've had a few things happen, they stored inside of you, and then you eat that chocolate or you watch Netflix and it distracts you enough that you don't really feel it. So you get that kind of like pleasure on top of it, right? That like dopamine hit on top of the layered pressure from your feelings. Many of us also learned early on how to suppress our emotions because they didn't come off as safe to express, right? Whether that was anger, sadness, or fear. And that's one of those things that I find doing very often just because of, well, it's not just because. I cannot completely blame it on what I seen growing up or how I was treated, because I am aware, I do know what's going on, but the reason why it comes so quickly to me is because I have seen that in the past. But with my children, if their energy and emotions start to bubble up, if they get mad, one of the main things that I gotta try to stop myself from saying is like, don't stump around here, or, whatever. Don't slam that door, or, or like, how long are you gonna cry about this? Right? Like all of that type of stuff, right? Like, I just remember, I don't know if I've ever said this to my kids or not. They only 6, 4, and 2, so who knows? There's more time. But another thing that I definitely remember from my childhood is that saying of like, I'm gonna give you something to cry about type stuff, right? Where you like, oh my, I'm threatened. For real, like this is a real danger. Right? This is bad for my well-being, right? Like I say this thing, and then the fear comes after that, right? Or I am scared. And somebody said, so this was one of those things that I had gotten conditioned into, that I really had to work on myself, because it didn't have anything to do with me and it wasn't necessarily wrong, but it's really interesting. So with my husband likes to joke around a lot. He thinks it's really funny to like scare you when you walk into the room, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm guessing that there are plenty other partners out there like that, but so my husband, if he would like scare me and I would jump, he, one of the main things that he would say is like, oh, you sensitive, or like, dang, like that scared you, or something like that. Like it will always kind of be like, what are you doing? And so I wouldn't be able to stop myself. I was startled easily. And that would be that. But after he would say those things, I started to feel a little bit more shame about it afterwards. So like, oh, you jumped, like, dang. Then I'm telling myself inside my head, like, this ain't, like, why is you doing this? Or like, why can't you take it if, somebody is unexpectedly in a room, like, excuse me, even if he wasn't saying it or doing it on purpose. And so that was one of those things that I had to work on. I had to see it unfold multiple times before I could see what I was doing in response to how my husband was responding to something that I would do regularly. So, but what worked for survival as a child, you have probably heard this a million times, but it doesn't work for you as an adult, right? What you were using back in the day in order to cope is not appropriate to be used right now in most cases. Why? First of all, that was 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a completely different circumstance. This is a different person. Everything about this moment is different, right? Because one of the only things that we can count on is that things will change. Because this is so different, you require a different response. Maybe it's not completely different, but if you constantly look at what is going on right now through the veil of the past, you will always miss stuff, right? Because you're not seeing the person that's in front of you. You're not seeing the situation that's in front of you. It will always cloud your judgment. And so it will never work. This is something that is coming from my personal experience. You are more than welcome to examine this on your own. Try it out. Try it out. The most likely thing that'll happen is that you will misread the situation. Now, if there happens to be a bear behind you, if there's some like mortal danger, you gonna need to run. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying for psychological reasons, for any psychological fear that you have, any mental pain that you sense, any thought-based activity that you got going on with somebody, it's always going to be inaccurate. You are always going to misread the situation if you are looking at it from the lens from something that happened to you in your past. Running from your emotions in general, it will keep you stuck. It will keep you reactive, right? That is, I see a situation and immediately go to some past picture in my head. And so I have that reaction that I used to have back in the day. And that will always, hands down, always disconnect you. So, here are some of the hidden costs of avoidance. Number one, it drains you. It takes a lot of energy, not only to avoid your feelings, but also to bring up that mental picture, right? To bring up that mental picture over and over again, because number one, it's coming from a place where it's stored. It takes energy to hold that stuff down. And especially if you are one who's like, I don't got time for this. I can't deal with this right now. I got to be a mom. I got to go to work. I got to, go pick my kids up from school. I cannot do this right now. And then you never handle it. It takes energy to hold that down. It also, again, like I was saying, keeps you reactive. So you're snapping at your kids, you're snapping on your partner, you're snapping at your coworkers, you are snapping before you even hear somebody. You can't even let people finish their sentences without assuming that you know what it is that they're talking about and jump into some sort of conclusion. You the reason why that winds up happening and becoming a problem, a noticeable problem for you, is that that's all that buried emotion that just starts spilling out, right? From anywhere, anytime they can find a leak, it'll spill out. And then thirdly, it impacts your relationships. when you avoid your feelings and when you snap at people or treat them in a fashion that, say, for example, especially if you find yourself saying you always. So, with my kids, if I look at underwear on the floor right next to the hamper, and I'm like, you always, like my oldest daughter name is Emery. Emery, you always leave your underwear on the floor. Put it in the basket. That right there, that right there signals to me that I have this picture in my mind that is that I'm bringing into this situation, right? I'm bringing all her past, all the times that I've seen her underwear on the floor into this situation. So all of my energy is saying that, my tone is saying that, and it is unfair to this situation because right now it's underwear on the floor. Bear with me, because I feel like one of the main things that people say is, well, when is she gonna learn? Da 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 da. Or if I don't say anything, or if I don't hold all of that like against her, or store all of that information, then she's gonna keep doing it. The fact is, she keeps doing it anyway. That's why you keep getting mad, right? So like, but when you avoid your feelings, you avoid truly seeing other people. You avoid true connection. And so not just with your others, not just with your other, like with other people around you, but with yourself. So the three ways that we talked to before we get into the three ways that we talked about in the beginning of this session, I do want to shout out again the Soft 6 Self-Care Challenge, because it is starting on Saturday, January 11th. So this Saturday is the kickoff. It is going to go on for 7 days. And every day we are working with one another to view the world without the veil, right? For us to see exactly what's going on inside of us and to address that in an intimate way that is specific to us. That is what we're learning how to do, because that is at the deep end of self-care. Okay. And that is what we're doing in 7 days. And I feel like the main thing that I've heard from people is like, I don't got time for self-care. Like, I don't do that. I don't do that for a reason. And I'm going to tell you this, that every single thing that we do throughout the week is aimed at the things that you do already. You literally incorporate each day's exercise or activation into what you're already doing. Okay. So you don't have to worry about it sucking up a whole bunch of your time. We're not meeting for an hour a day every day or anything like that. This program was created with folks in mind who have other shit to do. So, how to stop running and start healing. Okay. So the first thing, right, if you want to stop running, right, is to slow down. You can't heal from the things that are left in the dark, that's why like shadow work and stuff like that is so popular. You can't heal from the things that you can't see, right? Like every now and then you'll hit something spontaneously, but you're not going to, that's not reliable. Okay. I'm gonna just put that out there. It's not reliable. How do you know that? What is the evidence of that? Your life. Okay. You also can't heal what you don't acknowledge. So you have to see it without lying to yourself about it. And that takes a whole lot of developing the ability to have something occur without you deciding that I accept this or I reject this, right? Just looking at it, just observing it versus having to put it in one box or the other. And a way that you can do this right now is to just for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, sit or lie down and ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Um, Another thing that I found to be super helpful is I was in a yoga teacher training this weekend. And every single time I find an area where I'm like, no, like you need to relax that, right? Like you tense this area up because of like it's a part of your stress response. Like that is something that you do automatically. And so you need to relax it. Like for example, my shoulders, boom, that's what I did. Now I'm going to relax my shoulders. I was in a yoga teacher training and the instructor was like showing us some poses and we were practicing them and she was like, all right, all the butt clenchers, stop doing that. If you're doing that, stop doing that. And I was like, dang, I'm a butt clencher. I'm always clenching. And so I'll probably do um a live related to that. But just different things that you do, um, almost like you're like bracing yourself for whatever's going to happen next because you walk around in constant fear that something will happen next. Um, you want to figure out what those things are. So you need to watch yourself. You you don't have to fix things or change anything, right? Like this is not about struggle. It doesn't have to be active work. You just want to see it clearly. Step 2 is allowing the discomfort. If there is some, if there's pleasure, allowing that to come and go. The discomfort as well will come and go. And this is the hard part. Let the feeling be there again without accepting it or rejecting it, right? You don't have to label it. I love it. I hate it. You don't have to do any of that. Just allow that to be there. Feelings are temporary and they will pass much more quickly when you allow them the space to do so. And then the third is so we had slowing down, we had and noticing, slowing down and noticing, we had allowing the discomfort. And then the third one is to take one small action every day toward a clearer mind. Okay. And so this could be anything journaling, breathing deeply, maybe just going out for a walk. It's real cold around these parts, but I find that the cold air is more like crisp and more like I don't know, like it wakes you up. It's more invigorating than like the hot weather or whatever. But it can be something small but powerful. Especially if you go out into the woods or if you go to one of the parks or something like that, and do it, be closer to nature. That will be helpful. Even if you can't do that every day, again, alternate, figure something out. So I am just going to put in one more plug as we wrap this up, for the Soft 6 self-care challenge, because it is designed to help you stop running and start healing. Okay. And so you get daily prompts, like I said, with the exercises or activations of the day to help you notice and name your emotions. Well, we don't necessarily need to name them, but whatever helps you to notice and acknowledge them. There are guided meditations to create space for clarity and calm, as well as bonus trainings on how to meditate. There are also journaling exercises that are optional, but they will help you to process and potentially let go of some things. And so this is your chance to break the cycle of avoidance and to start to deeply care for yourself. Okay. Not, you know, needing all of the massages and the, getting your nails done and all of that type of stuff. Also, without the inner judgment, without the overwhelm. And so I want you to know that, first of all, in the comment section is a link for you to click to join to at least learn more information, if not join us in the self-care challenge. And if you are tired of running from your feelings, you want more information, you just want to talk to me, just message me Soft6, and we can start a conversation. I will see y'all next week.
Is it over?
Almost. Look, I'm supposed to be putting this on there.
Can I say bye? Bye.
Yeah, you said bye?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Bye.
Say it.